How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to teach you guys how I became a male nurse in 8 steps. And by the way, my name is Jesse, and this continues to improve. So one of the reasons why I wanted to make a video like this was just to encourage men to get into the nursing workforce. But I also want you guys to know that this video can apply to anybody, not just men, not just to become a male nurse, but to anybody who wants to become a registered nurse. This can also apply. And I wanted to break it down as easy as possible. That's just how my mind works. Maybe you like to make things way more challenging than they truly are, but ideally, if you follow these 8 steps in order, and I'll explain each one as we go along, but if you follow these 8 steps, there's a high chance you'll make it from start to finish. And just to preface, this is going to be starting from high school. Starting from high school, how you can become a nurse in 8 simple steps. And they appear simple, but each step is its own goal. But I'll explain more as we go along. So hang in there with me as we take this journey here. So the first thing is you got to graduate high school. Graduate high school. So when you're in high school, you're trying to figure out your career path, right? There's really nothing you can truly do until you're finally done. You do have to graduate high school. For me, I'll just let you know, I wasn't the smartest kid in class. I also wasn't the most, ambitious in terms of, trying to get the best grades. I say a lot of that doesn't matter so much. It could matter if you're trying to get into a 4-year school versus a community college. But in order to become a nurse, you don't have to go to a 4-year university or college in order to get your nursing degree. You don't have to do that. A lot of people think that they have to try extra hard during high school to get to that 4-year school where the 4-year nursing program already exists. But you can also go to a community college like I did, do your prereqs there, and then apply to 4-year universities as a transfer student. And as a transfer student, that's kind of better. You get to pick which nursing program in a sense you want to get to. Another thing regarding that is just because you're at a 4-year university, it doesn't mean you're going to get into that specific nursing program. So just keep that in mind. The way I look at it is you got to graduate high school first. That's the step 1. And so I guess we can say you're starting off pretty easy, right? This is maybe something you're about to do or something that you've already done. So as far as this 8-step process, you're looking pretty good. You already did maybe the first one. So kind of going in line with this, number 2 is you want to attend, and hopefully you can read that, but number 2 is attend a college with a nursing degree program. There you go. It's pretty good. Attend a college with a nursing degree program. This is going to save you, some headaches down the road. In regards to this, if you're attending a school that already has a nursing program, they're likely already going to have the classes that you need as prereqs. This will save you a lot of headache, especially if you're attending a college that doesn't have a nursing program, because they may not have the classes that you actually need to then apply to nursing programs. So if that's the case, it may be annoying. You may be attending a college and have to take a class at another college, and that can take up time. That can kind of push you behind or delay the process. So one way to kind of save some time and just make sure you're on course is attend a college that already has one of these nursing programs. And another thing with this is that there's always that chance that you can continue to align yourself with that specific nursing program. You're already in, that school. You can familiarize yourself with how to get in, and, best case scenario or maybe worst case scenario, however you want to look at it, you may even have a higher chance of getting into that nursing program because you're already a student there. There's some programs that do incentivize things like that. Not all of them, but sometimes some do. So I just see it as a win-win, and it's number 2 on this 8-step process. You may have done this one as well. And then for number 3, I'm actually gonna, we're learning as we go, right? We're gonna start fresh. Once in college, complete your prereqs. Once in college, complete your prereqs. So this is pretty important, right? Let's say you weren't the smartest kid or you didn't try the most in high school. like myself, I will raise my hand to that. I always knew I was going to go to community college anyway, so I didn't turn the switch on per se. Once I got to this step though, step number 3, once I actually had to get into these prereqs, that's when I turned my switch on. That's when I really had to, go for it. Because otherwise, you're not going to make yourself as competitive as you need to be to get into a program. So step number 3 is once you're in college, complete your prereqs. And you want to get A's. You want to make yourself competitive. That I will say, and I will be pretty real with you. If you get B's and C's, it's likely not going to cut it for a nursing program. You can go through the route of the lottery, right? Applying to nursing schools that have a lottery, and some have a point system. For me though, I didn't want to go through the lottery because I don't like waiting in line. I don't want to wait in line and do nothing different than the next person and just wait for my name to be called. And that's another thing, just to kind of side note that. There's programs that have a lottery and there's programs that have a point system. Point systems are somewhat the most competitive because everyone's kind of competing with their grades, with their TEAS tests, with experience for a point score to get in. The higher point score for the application, the higher your chance to get into the program. If you're going through the lottery route, you don't have to worry about that so much. Through the lottery, like I said, you wait in the line. Everyone just, what I envision is they put all these names in a hat and they just pick out, 40 names. And if you're lucky, your name will be picked. If not, it's just a waiting game. So if you can, friends, take it very seriously. Try to get A's in anatomy, physiology, microbiology, your English classes, your math classes, statistics. You want to get A's. You want to get A's. I can't stress that enough. So if you're a slacker somewhat like me in high school, don't be a slacker so much when you get to this step. The better your grades are, the higher your GPA is, the more you'll thank yourself when you go to apply, and the more confidence you will have when you do go to apply. And if you're competitive enough, friends, I recommend go through the point system route rather than the lottery. You'll save yourself a lot of time. It is competitive, it is impacted, but just take it seriously. Take it one class at a time. In a different video, I can dive into tips on how I personally did it, but I just briefly, just to recommend, is structure each semester strategically. Don't take any more than 2 hard classes and then fill it with, some other fluff classes. An example of that would be maybe taking anatomy and statistics. And then for the remainder of your units, maybe get some easy class like health, or maybe some other easy class like anthropology or something, just to kind of round it out. You don't want to take one semester with all hard classes. Doing that doesn't really set yourself up for success in order to get the A's to then be competitive for a nursing program. All right, so for number 4, so apply for and take the TEAS. So at some point along this journey, you're going to get to a point where you're nearing the end, right? You're saying maybe I only have 2 semesters left or a semester left of prereqs. At that point, you're going to want to start to apply and study and then take your TEAS test. The TEAS test is like a standardized test that they require for nursing applications. The score for that does matter. If you're trying to go through the lottery system, I think they just want, a minimum score. But if you go through the point system, every point higher on the TEAS test does matter. It can lead to a higher point scale score for you when you go to apply. So just keep this in mind. I wouldn't really focus on this until you're a little, further along on your prereqs. That's why I put it at step 4. But eventually, this is the next step, friends. You're going to have to take that TEAS. It's probably a newer version of the test than when I took it, but regardless, it has like math, science, English, I believe, maybe some nursing style questions. But regardless, friends, you just get the TEAS test book, you study it, you sign up for the test, and then you take it. I'll get to it in another step, but I actually took it, 4 times. So don't feel bad if you don't do as well as you wanted to on the first time. For this test in particular, there's a strategy to it. I can maybe give you some tips if it's something you're interested in when I took it, but this is step number 4. Look at this thing. It's working so good. Step number 5. Apply, apply, apply. So this is now the stage where you did your prereqs, you took your TEAS test. We're at step number 5, and this is when you have to now start applying to nursing programs. Like I mentioned earlier, there's really 2 types of programs. There's the lottery, and then there's the point score system. If you go through the lottery, maybe you're lucky. Maybe you're going through the lottery because you know you're not as competitive with your score, but you're willing to take the chance and you're willing to wait. But at the same time, let's say it's the opposite problem for you. Let's say you know you got your A's, you know you got your TEAS test, you're pretty competitive, so you go through the point scale system. They're both options. One isn't necessarily better than the other. You can apply to both if you can, but just keep that in mind that there's 2 different types. For me, I got in through the point score system. I made myself very competitive. I got all A's, to be honest with you, and then I took my TEAS test 4 times. And then I was also going to work on being a CNA. And I'll get that into step number 6 where I'll dive into a little bit more on that. But step number 5 is you apply, right? So you graduated high school, you got into a college that has a nursing program, you started working on your prereqs, you did them all, you did your TEAS test, that's step 4, and then now it's time to apply. That is the sequence. And sometimes this is where it ends right here, right? You're already in the nursing program. You're good. But let's go into number 6, step number 6, just in case you don't get in, or even if you're waiting to get in. Step number 6 is still important. I'm really going to work on my handwriting, especially if I'm going to use this board here, but hopefully you can read number 6. It says, meanwhile waiting, continue to make yourself competitive. And I can't stress this one enough as well, friends. You got through the sequence, you're now waiting, right? Or you didn't get in the first time you applied. You got to continue to make yourself competitive. And that's what I was mentioning earlier about having to take my TEAS test multiple times. Let's say the first time you took your TEAS test, you got a 76, right? This is my example. That's not good enough maybe to apply, but you apply anyways, and then you find out, yeah, it wasn't good enough. So then you study and you take it again, and then this time you get an 82. And you're like, okay, I still got time, before I apply, let me take it again. And then you take it again, you get 84%. You're like, okay, well, I can squeeze in one more attempt. Let me squeeze in one more on my TEAS test. And then for me personally, my 4th try, I got an 89, I believe. It was like an 89.6. And I was ecstatic because I knew that was my ticket in. And it was through the point scale. I made myself that competitive. But in addition to that, friends, let's say your TEAS test is there. You took your prereqs. You have all A's. Let's say you don't have all A's in those classes. You're going to want to retake them and try to get that A the second time around. It is worth your time to do that, especially if you're waiting to get into a program and you're trying to wonder of what things you can do to improve your application. That's another one. A third one that I was working on that fortunately for me I didn't have to go super deep into was trying to get experience in the healthcare field. I actually went through a CNA program and I got my certificate almost. I actually never took the test because I got into the program and I didn't want to work as a CNA. I respect all CNAs, but that's a tough gig. But I was willing to go that far. Become a CNA, get certified, become a CNA, work as a CNA, just to get experience. So then eventually later down the road when I could apply again, if I didn't get in, my application would be even stronger. So those are the things you have to do to continue to make yourself competitive. And that's step number 6. So here we are. We're continuing to go. So number 7. So get into a program and complete it. Let's say you made yourself competitive, you applied again, and now you're finally in. But regardless, let's just say now you're in the program. This is step number 7. And you're going to say, wow, we're towards the end. And it's true. A lot of the upfront work is everything to get into a program. Once you get into a nursing program, you're in already. They tell you everything to do, all the classes to take, when to sign up for them, all about your clinicals. All you got to do is just show up. That's all you got to do. And you don't even have to get all A's in the nursing program. You're going to see the students that are always competitive, trying to get A's, continue to do that. And like myself, I learned what I needed to, but I didn't stress out any more than I had to. There's nothing in particular that you really need to worry so much about. If you're trying to do a master's program later down the road, your GPA may not even matter, to be honest. You're a nursing student, right? You're smart enough to get into the program. You're likely going to do just fine with your GPA and do just fine to pass and get good grades. You're already naturally a great student. Because to get into a nursing program, it's hard to not be and get in. It's so impacted, it's so competitive. So once you're in, friends, take a deep breath and just know you got in, and all you got to do is complete it and then just make it through. That is it. Trust me. And then here we are, friends, finally, step number 8. Boom. All right. Take the NCLEX, step number 8. You have went and completed your nursing program. Now the final step, friends, in order to become a registered nurse, become that male nurse, is you study and you take the NCLEX. And then that's it. I'm not going to end it there, though. I'm going to tell you that for me personally, I used UWorld. UWorld was the only thing, and I studied a lot for it. During the studying time, what I recommend is you pick a date further in advance than you think that you'll need, and then as you study, you're going to get ready. There's going to come a point where you're going to be ready. You're like, I need to take this test. I got all this information, all this knowledge. I just need to let it out. And once you feel that, friends, you're just like, oh my God, I don't want to forget anything. That's when you know you can change your test date a little sooner and then take the test at that time. That's what I did. I only used UWorld, and you'll be fine, friends. When you take that proctored test, because it is proctored, it is kind of, a little intimidating, a little awkward, but once you go there to the office and you take it, you pass, you became a registered nurse. And that is it, friends. That is 8 steps on how you can become a male nurse or just a nurse in general. It applies to anybody, but hopefully as a man, as a male out there, you're encouraged even more so to go into that nursing field, because it is predominantly women still. There's a lot of men in it now, more than it was before, but continue. We got to continue to kind of show up in that field, continue to be that new man that regardless of the stereotypes of the field being more feminine or however you want to say it, as a man, it doesn't matter. You can enter that field, have a good lifestyle, make a good income, and you'll thank yourself later, friends. A job can always be a job. You just got to know, or you just got to want to help people. That's the underlying thing. And as long as you want to help people, nursing's a great career for you. But I'll see you on the next one. If you guys have any questions regarding any of these steps, you can comment down below. Maybe I'll make another video into specific steps. If you're more interested in certain steps along the way, I can give you more tips on those. Thanks for bearing with me on this first video with the chicken scratch. I'll try to do better next time, I promise. But I'll see you on the next one, friends. Good luck on your journey. It'll be worth it.